Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Row of Gilead here, coming at you today with another one of the unlock guides for the Horsemen of Apocalypse. Today, we're going to be talking about Red Hulk, how to get him unlocked at 3 stars, the teams, the strats, alternate ideas, the packs, the Scourges, whatever you want to call them. We're going to hit it all today. And at the end, we're going to go over just kind of the hotspot nodes, where you're going to have some problems, and kind of the best way to work around them with the teams provided in this video. If you haven't done so already and you're a fan of the channel, make sure you leave us a like on the video, subscribe. And well, with that being said, let's get right into it. So first, I want to talk to you guys about teams. Now, we're on the website at the moment just so it's an easier view of the roster to see everything at once. And we're going to kind of talk about what teams you need and what levels and ability levels you have to have them at. So starting off with the bio nodes, we already used Hivemind in our unlock guide for Morgan Le Fay, and they should be farmable in the next week or two here in game. So we're going to say, hey, stick with Hivemind. As you can see up here, the only one of them over level 65 was Carnage. So being able to run these guys most at level 65, more of a budget investment, lower stars for everyone except for Carnage and Venom, really. Everyone else is 5 stars or less. And this made the bio section very, very doable. They were not challenging at all. Moving ahead for our Avengers team. This is the layout we used with Cap all the way on the far right, Infinity War Iron Man, which is another taunter, on the far right, Black Widow in the middle. She can go invis and kind of break up the two sides, prevent them from being targeted super hard. Hawkeye, and it's important that you upgrade their passives for Hawkeye and Black Widow so that they always constantly counterattack together. And then we have Scarlet Witch for healing. Moving on to the Asgard nodes. We use primarily Bifrost. We have Vol, Beta Ray, Bill, Loki, Teen Loki, and we slotted Hela in there as well. For the villain section, we used our Sinister Superior 6 hybrid team that we've been rocking since Dark Dimension 2, consisting of Doc Ock, Mysterio, Kraven, Vulture, and Lizard. Now, this team was all at level 70, and it's worth noting the Avengers and your Asgardians are absolutely going to have to be level 70 with some of their T4s. It's not ideal per se, especially because Bifrost is starting to fall out of the raid meta, but for these events, you don't ever really need to take these characters above level 75, 80, as long as you are building them correctly and upgrading their abilities, and, rolling the dice. It's going to be a lot of random chance sometimes with these nodes, but thankfully, this is about as high as you're going to have to take these two teams. The Sinister 6, on the other hand, I feel like we could have done this at 65 if necessary. They breeze through the villain nodes, really no issues with them whatsoever. And I would recommend using this setup as well. It has lots of different tools, survivability options, AoEs, slows. It's just a really easy team to get access to, and it's a really easy team to smash in these events with. Now, the last bone of contention is the skill nodes. Now, we were able to get through it with the 4 currently unlocked Spider Society characters, Peter B. Parker, Pavitra, Spider-Man Noir, and Ghost Spider, Ghost Spider, and we've slotted in Kestrel. Now, we're going to go over these skill nodes because they are the toughest nodes to do, and these are just the newest characters. However, at the time of making this video, they are not farmable. So if they're farmable and you're watching this is absolutely the skill team you should use, and you might consider swapping out Kestrel with Penny Parker, but Kestrel was a lot of the damage on this team, so I felt like she was necessary. But again, you'll notice that a lot of these newer raid characters, 65, 70 is all you're going to need. And then lastly, for the skill section, there is an honorable mention for the Invaders. When I first got my Red Hulk all the way up to 7 stars, Invaders was the best team for me to use. And I used to have to sack it with other skill characters, so if you don't have access to the Spider Society, if you're joining the game after this video is made, but before they become farmable, Invaders, you have to get them pretty big, like 75, 80, but they are doable, and you can 2-tap them with other skill characters first, like Echo and some of the Young Avengers that you might want to use for the Rogue Scourge. So, if you can't get the Spider Society, or if you're struggling with this team, you can always come in and sack with the Invaders. Now, with that in mind, let's get into the game itself. Give us a moment here to switch over, and we're going to talk about the different Scourges and things we used, and we're going to go from the bottom to the top. First thing you'll notice, we're at difficulty level 5, and we are well over the threshold to hit 500k. For those of you who haven't noticed, or maybe are new and this is your first Horseman you want to go for because he's your favorite, this score, you're going to get 4,000 to 6,000. See, my best run with this score was 506,000. So if these Scourges aren't working for you, if something you can tweak is going to keep you above 500k, but maybe will make your survivability a little easier, feel free to change it. These are just the things I used, and they seem to work pretty dang well. So starting at the bottom, we have Stay Down, which I think might be hidden behind my big ol' head here, but yeah, it is. Unfortunately, it's the only one we won't be able to see in the video, but Stay Down is very basic. On a character's turn, remove revive ones from that character. So odds are you don't have Dormammu going into this, and there's not really a ton of other characters that really do revive once off the spawn, so not really a whole lot to worry about with that. It's a freebie, essentially. Then we're moving on. We've got When It Rains. When a positive effect applies to an enemy character, increase the duration of all positive effects on that enemy by 1 up to a max of 3. We also have Butterfly Effect. When a fortifier character uses an ultimate ability, spread positive effects on that character to adjacent allied characters. This works for both you and your opponent. We have Power Fatigue 1. Ultimate abilities cost 1 more ability energy. And also Dark Rally. When a player character uses their ability energy, or ultimate ability rather, all enemies will gain 1 ability energy. So we kind of punished ourselves on the ultimates here, but it allowed us to, we still have good healing. We still have all this other stuff that we don't have to worry about them using. They don't have any bonus HP, which is huge. You want them, especially trying to go in low star, lower level, you want them to be as squishy as possible so that you can smash them as hard as possible. But with that in mind, let's get into the nodes and kind of talk about strategy. Now, again, nodes 1 and 2 for bio were very straightforward when it came to using the Hive Mind team. They were, just kind of ping out your problems in node 1. It's, you want to stop Phantom X from taunting so that you can shut down Phyla-Vell, Spider-Woman, and Kate Bishop as quickly as possible. Node 2, I don't even know if there was anything worth mentioning in node 2. The Kestrel and the Shang-Chi and the Ghost Rider, making sure you lock them down, getting Ghost Rider out ASAP so that he doesn't constantly hurt your team when they're doing damage. But again, this was a pretty easy breeze through if you know how to use your Hive Mind. Moving ahead to the Avengers nodes. Now, these were deceptively tricky, and especially this first node. And what I want to point out here is that you're going to start this node, and you're going to have, these characters right here, right? The 2 Thors, the Coulson, the Magneto, the Valkyrie, and the Moonstone, and the Mighty Thor. Now, you would think that in this node using your Avengers that you would want to stop Magneto from using his ult, and that you would want to shut down Valkyrie as quickly as possible so that you wouldn't have to worry about her buffing the Asgardians. However, what you've got to be careful about is this Moonstone. Her special ability is going to flip buffs to debuffs, and nobody on your team is going to have Safeguard to prevent it. So what I found worked really well, you get Cap's special off to give everyone immunity, and then you blitz down Moonstone. This way, when Magneto goes, and Mighty Thor, and Valkyrie to try to debuff your team, you are sitting pretty with immunity, nothing's going to flip it, and once you get past that first wave and you get into the back end, really you just want to make sure that Cloak and Dagger are not alive at the same time, because then they're going to get a whole bunch of bonuses that make them way harder to kill and makes them hit a lot harder. So remember, gang, this was actually one of my hardest nodes on this. Make sure once you buff your team, you take out Moonstone as quickly as possible. You will be able to duck the negative effects for a turn or two from all of these other attacks. Then you can really get your offense going and start burning through the node. Moving on, that's the other Avenger node. Where we at up here? There we go. So for Wave 1 Avengers, you could use Wave 1 Avengers, Ravengers, Asgardians, or Black Order and Thanos. Asgardians are the best to use here. Straightforward. Now, from this point on, we're going to have a separate video that details nodes 5 through 10 because they are easily the most difficult. We have some live footage that we're going to chop up and throw up in the next day or two. So if you can't get through these right away, don't worry. Just give me a day or two and I will have a kind of more of a step-by-step guide ripped from our live stream. But this node is weird as well because you have to kind of pace yourself so that you can take out Psylocke and Omega Red and Doctor Strange while keeping Phantom X and Wong either ability blocked or stunned so that they're not using their taunts on you. The reason why you want to approach in that order is if you dump a bunch of negatives on this team and don't kill anybody, then Psylocke is going to use her ultimate, take all those negatives and put them on one of your characters, which can be really crippling. So make sure with this node, you want to focus Psylocke and Omega Red while kind of locking down both of your tanks. And then as you progress through the node, you're going to get more tanks. However, if you can take out Doctor Strange Heartless Madeline Pryor, and Mr. Sinister, you're kind of sitting pretty. You should be able to survive Dazzler and Silver Samurai and Negasonic Teenage Warhead long enough to finish up the node and be in decent health and stat standings. Moving on to the villain nodes, again, there wasn't really anything here that was super terrifying. If you're not familiar with somehow some of these tunes work, make sure you're getting Cap Sam and Squirrel Girl out early. Cap Sam's going to give a lot of buffs to teammates with deflects and dodges. He's going to taunt. And then Squirrel Girl obviously is their main healer. And then again, you approach the Asgardian section like always. You want to make sure you take out Valkyrie first so she's not giving a bunch of buffs to Mighty Thor and to Heimdall. And you should be able to easily pick and peck your way through that node with the Sinister Six. Same thing with the next node. You want Cersei out first so that when Icarus comes in, again, he does not get all those bonuses. And then, honestly, it's just making sure you're controlling the Black Panthers and the Shuri. Everything. And that's very doable, friends. Very doable. They're very squishy on this node. So, Cersei first. Take out a Black Panther and a Shuri so they're not healing and proccing off of each other. And then when Icarus comes in, just make sure you're locking him down until you can kill him. The skill nodes. This is the most heinous node, in my opinion, in all 4 of the Scourge events. Because not only do you have Emma Frost and Cable, which are going to give you negatives to your turn meter and help the other team go first, you also start with Drax on the field, who's a pre-taunting tank. And as soon as you kill 2 units, you're going to get Dagger and X-23. And X-23, especially with her recent reworks to stats, hits rough. Especially with her ultimate, she can ignore taunts and focus on the weakest enemy. So what I found you have to do here, whether you're doing Spider Society or Invaders, you have to slow roll it. As soon as you get around the taunt, you start working down Dagger and Emma Frost. That way, when Cloak comes in, she's not getting the buffs from Dagger, and you're not losing the speed meter, the turn meter, and having things cleansed on the other team all the time by Emma Frost. You will also probably end up taking out either Star-Lord T'Challa or Cable in the process, which is not ideal. However, if you're using Spider Society, they can tank it and heal after the fact, and it's okay. But this is easily the most stressful node because one misplay or bad RNG, somebody not getting a specific debuff or healing at the right time can really throw you off on this team. So what I actually found worked best was having Kestrel and Peter B. Parker at 70. Peter B. because he's the healer and you're going to want him to go earlier. And then everyone else was 65. And I don't want to say it was a breeze with that team, but it was definitely much more manageable than it is trying to use Invaders. Moving on ahead to the last skill node. This is kind of a gimme, if I'm going to be honest with you guys, especially after the prior node. You want to take out Echo so she doesn't put all the dodges on the team. Same thing with Dazzler. You don't want to get ability blocked and blinded. Everyone else is kind of a low stat non-issue. Again, you'll have Magneto at the end, and if you're running Spider Society, he should be no problem to outspeed and either ability block him or stun him or even just kill him before he's able to pop his ult and really give you a bad day. And then lastly, final node. This is actually, again, it's not hard, but it is harder than it looks. It's another node where you kind of got to be really careful about who you target and when. Ideally, your goal here is to work out Viv Vision, Rescue, and one of the Hulk Busters before the other Hulk Buster and the bottom half of this spawn in. The Hulk Busters are very tanky and they come with taunts, so you don't want 2 of them out there because it's going to take you forever to clean them up, and that's not ideal. The longer they're alive, the more the rest of the team gets to buff and do damage to your Asgardians, and it's, again, not ideal. Viv Vision, I would try to take out before Rescue because she gives the team ability energy from her passive, and it's just, she complicates things a lot, and her and Vision get a lot of dodges, so making sure you have her out of the way and either one of the Hulk Busters or Rescue is going to be huge for getting you your Red Hulk. So that said, everybody, that's the breakdown of how we got ourselves Red Hulk. Just to kind of review one last time a little bit of the roster since we're in game here and it makes things a bit easier to see. Let's go to War. Yep. Just so you can kind of see a little bit better in depth the star levels, the ISO levels, the gear levels. I'm just going to kind of leave this up, scroll kind of slow here so everyone can kind of see what we're working with. Again, these are the same teams we showed off at the beginning of the video. Oop, and that's not the one. So these 3, nope, wrong slot. Sorry, guys. This one's the one. So here's your Hive Mind with 2 characters level 70, Gwenum and Carnage, with the other 3 at 65. Again, the only ones over 5 stars are Venom and Carnage, which are completely free to play farmable even now, so shouldn't be too hard to get this team into working order. You've got the Avengers, again, all level 70. I wouldn't recommend trying any of these characters under level 70. Even in Infinity War Iron Man, I tried this with them all at 70 and him at 65, and he just tanks a little too much to be weaker than the rest of the team. He gets targeted out first, and you need him for 2 nodes, and it's not ideal. So having everyone here at 70 is great. Again, making sure you have the max passive for both Black Widow and for Hawkeye, so that you can gain assist now on Black Widow turns, and Black Widow gains assist now on Hawkeye turns is huge, on top of the other stat bonuses. As Guardians, Vol and Beta Ray Bill and Hela are kind of your MVPs. Again, max passive. Everyone else, level 5 or 6 gear ability tiers. Same with Beta Ray Bill. You don't need these other ones. I wish I'd have had Thunderclap at level 5 so I could stun more consistently. That would have been very, very nice. In fact, I would recommend getting this upgrade at the very least, maybe even up to 7 if you're going at a higher level. The guaranteed ability block is huge, and it's definitely going to be something we focus on and later star level unlocks. Team Loki and Hela, everyone here, again, level 70, just because he heals based on his max health. Again, 5s and 3 on the passive. His passive is mostly for raids, so you don't technically need a bunch of levels in it. Sinister 6, again, he's got some max passives and other abilities because Doc Ock is easily the most critical on the team. Everybody else, 4, 5, 6 for their ability levels going throughout the team. All 5s for Mysterio. And again, I don't think you actually needed these at 70. Mine were already at 70 from doing Dark Dimension 2 with them. So that's what I used. You might be able to get in with 65 to 70 on Toons, maybe 70 on Ox, 70 on Mysterio or Lizard. The other ones could be 65. It's worth a shot if you don't want to invest the resources and you kind of have everything else figured out. Again, we already kind of talked about Spider Society. Peter B, you want at level 70, so he has a little bit extra speed and goes first. Again, all level 4s and 5s, nothing too wild on his abilities. Everyone else is 65 except for Kestrel. And again, Kestrel, I got her up a little bit because she's kind of the damage dealer on the team, right? She's the one that's hitting really hard, and these 4 are locking down characters, applying ability blocks, stealthing, healing, bouncing between targets, and applying debuffs. It's very, very helpful to have this team. And right now, Peter B and Pavitra are not farmable. You'd have to have played during one of their events or gotten some of their shards from in-game events that have taken place after their release. But Spider-Gwen or Ghost Spider and Noir and Kestrel are very, very attainable, and you could probably plug in another healer skill, but this is honestly the easiest team. And then, of course, I didn't level up my invaders to the level necessary, but I can tell you from experience, you're going to want them at 75 to 80. They're going to slow roll it. It's going to be miserable. But if you can't get the Spider Society characters yet and you're really wanting to push through this so you can continue your Apocalypse grind, the invaders are an acceptable alternative. Just please, please, please remember, don't take any of them over 75 except for Nick Fury. Don't waste a bunch of T4s on their abilities, their passives, and like the healing abilities for Iron Fist World War II should be more than enough to get you through. It's just going to take a lot of RNG, and it's going to take, a little bit of effort and extra grinding on your part to make that team work consistently. So with that in mind, everybody, that is all we've got for this video. I hope that you found it informative. If you did, please make sure you're leaving it a like. Subscribe if you want more of this kind of content. If you're looking for something more specific, please leave it in the comments below. I'd be happy to answer any questions you guys have about my runs. And again, don't forget that we will have nodes 5 through 10 in a separate little video, just kind of a rip from our live stream so you can see how we got through it, and get yourself a 3-star Red Hulk for your free-to-play or returning account. That said, everybody, and I said that a lot, but thank you again for watching the video. I hope you found it enjoyable. As always, friends, long days and pleasant nights, and I look forward to catching y'all in the next one.